about a year ago, maybe even 9 months ago, we start seeing you everywhere. Okay, myself, just like everybody. Hey, did you hear about the liver cancer? Did you hear about the liver? Did you hear about? I'm like, wow, what's he talking about? So he talking about liver. You got to eat this, and you got to eat bone marrow. I'm like, dude, that's great. Being Middle Eastern, I've been waiting for somebody to promote liver because nobody likes to eat liver with me. So I'm like, another guy that likes eating liver, and he's not from Iran or he's not Armenian Syrian. So that part of it was great. So, and then as you're on podcasts, whether it's with whoever it is, you're like, yeah, I don't do steroids, PED. Let me tell you, I did take PED. I'm going to admit to it. And you said the lines that you said. And then came the part from the rest of us. I've been around bodybuilders for a long time. My dream was to be Mr. Olympia when I was a kid coming out. I went to the military, like that's what I was going to do. And I'm looking at your body, just like everybody else who's in the space, and saying, it's naturally, it's not possible to look like that guy right there. And then the story comes out last week about the stuff that you were taking in an email. If you want to put that up there, Rob, when you see in the email, well, this email and this was taken and that was taken and this was taken. And for people that are in the space, they know what those things are. You know it yourself. If you're in the space, you know it. I come from a background where in bodybuilding back in the days, there was the Steroids Bible Edition 1 and the second one and the third one, and they would always change the color. I don't remember back in the days with Bill Phillips from Muscle Media 2000, who was always the guy that would be straight up, and it was very random for people to come out talking about steroids. He was one of the first guys that said, no, I use steroids. Here's what I do. And then Arnold did it. So for me, when I saw you not doing it, the first thing I thought about was the following. There used to be a time 30 years ago, if somebody smoked weed, you're like, oh, that guy smokes weed. He must be a gangster. He must be this. Today, if you smoke weed, nobody gives a shit. Like literally, no one cares. If you go on the street, somebody next to you smoking, oh, that guy's smoking weed. Great. And I think we're getting to a phase where steroids, if a person chooses to do it, for whatever reason they want to do it, there's some studies that say you ought to do it, your TRT levels, your testosterone levels are low, this, that. I think we're getting to a level where it's no longer a big deal. But you kept saying, I'm not, and then boom, this comes out, and the world hears about it. I've heard your video where you talk about this, but maybe share with us, when you first saw this email that came out and the world saw it, what was your immediate reaction when you saw that? And then your mindset when you're making the video to talk to the world who's been thinking you've not been using steroids your entire life.
Well, I remember it like it was 5 minutes ago. I was getting ready to go to bed. It's probably 8:30. I just spent some time with my boys, and everything was dark in the house. I'm getting ready to go to bed. Right before I go to bed, I like to just check my phone.
Yeah.
Make sure there's no emergencies. And there's this pew that I sit at in my house. It's nice and dark. Nobody can actually see me. They walk by, they don't even know I'm there. And so I check my phone, and there's a message, a group message that says, do we need to get crisis management involved? And I'm thinking, oh God, here we go again. Like somebody's overreacting. And so, I'm like, what are we talking about here? So somebody then sends a link to the video. And so I start watching the video. I'm like, I've already seen 5 of these from the same guy. I'm like, okay, here we go again.
Who was the guy that you're talking about? The same guy?
Derek from More Plates, More Dates has made quite a few videos, right?
Gotcha.
And so I'm
all negative about you?
I wouldn't even call him negative. I would call him the truth.
Oh, wow.
Well, there's one that's totally fucking full of shit. It's about me having ab implants and ab etching. Like, so I will say that's completely not true. So I'm like, okay, big deal. Here's another video, same guy, right? And then so I say, tell me exactly what minute to go to. So then I went to the minute that they told me to go to, and then they start reading the email that I sent. And I said, holy shit, like, I did this. I did this, and I called my wife over. I'm like, wife! She comes over. She sits right next to me.
So she doesn't have a name. Wife, over here.
That's what I said. And
wow, wife, over here.
We're getting primal, bro. You got primal.
She comes over, and she starts watching it with me. And I think she could probably feel my heart beating right next to her. And it was going to come out of my chest. And again, like, everything on there was true. And I said, okay, like, here we are. Right now, we're here. And so my mindset is, I called Derek, and he didn't answer. So then I sent him a text message. I said, hey, man, thank you. And so then he answered. I said, hey, what's the best way to get in touch with you? He said, I'm free now. So I gave him a call, and I said, thank you for doing this. I don't know what good will come of this, but good, bad, and different, everything in life is good. And I'm going to find a way, to make silver linings from this. And so there's so much good.
What was his reaction when you said that? Like, how did he take it?
Yeah, well, actually, this is what he says, hello. And I said, how long did it take for you to make this documentary? And he says, a couple of weeks. And I said, holy shit, a couple of weeks. You did a masterful job. Hats off to you. Thank you for doing this. I don't know what good will come, but good will come of this. And he goes, oh, I'm surprised that you're so chill about this. And I said, well, I don't know what you expect me to be. You know, maybe you expect something else, but, you know, I know that you know this too, but like you can't be grateful and express a life of abundance and also scarcity and contract at the same time. Like, and so this is my attitude. These are my philosophies, my principles that drive me. I'm like, okay, I don't know how we're going to deal with this, but I'm grateful for this. And I'm going to figure my way, you know, into this. Well, I figured my way into it. Now I got to like go through the storm. And so that's my mindset, you know, that's what I'm thinking, you know. And so the way that I came up with the apology video was just like the kids were going to bed. They went to bed. First thing the next day, I said, hey, I need to talk to you guys. Let's get around the table. So we all got around the table. And really what I said to my kids is almost the same thing on the apology video. It was like, I just looked at them, you know, and this is tough, you know. To look your kids in the eye and to tell them that you've been lying to them. You know, I've never lied to my kids about anything, but I lied to them about this. So I told them, I said, I lied to you guys, you know, and what I did was wrong. Let me tell you what I've lied about. I have taken steroids. I'm on steroids right now. And I can tell you the reasons why I'm going to justify it. You deserve to know, you know, why I've justified it. But what I did was wrong. And I'll never lie to you guys again. And, you know, the reason why I the mind is such a deadly weapon because once I got myself into this, you know, I convinced myself that this had nothing to do with my message. I convinced myself that, who the fuck am I cheating? Like, I'm not in a competitive sport. Who am I cheating? You know, and I would say, like, one of the most hurtful things is, where maybe I did some of the most damage is I convinced myself that the 15-year-old boy, my kids, these guys, they don't need to hear this message. And so there's a whole lot of other things that I'd convinced myself of. But once I'd convinced myself of like these 6 or 7 things, I'm like digging the hole and digging the hole. You know, now I'm answering DMs. Oh, I don't touch this stuff. Never going to touch this stuff. Don't touch this. You know, now I'm going on podcasts, you know, and now I'm doing the same thing. And I'm just digging that fucking hole deeper and deeper and deeper, you know, and it's probably the thing that I regret most in my life. Out of all the dumb shit that I fucking have done, like I probably regret this the most. So facing my kids, it was tough, but it's brought us closer together. And, you know, another silver lining that I see in this is like, you know, my kids have held me in the highest. They think that I'm this infallible character. And so I will say that I am grateful that my kids see me drop to my fucking knees. They see how I'm dealing with this. You know, from day one, I was grateful for it. Immediately, I'm like, I own this. I fucking own this. And I'm going to lead myself out of this. And I want you guys to see what ends up happening. I know I'm not rising above this now, but I know in time that will happen. And so that's how I handled that.
You know, I got to tell you, before we went live on the camera, you were talking about how, you know, the life, I live that life a mile away. I live close. I want to do this because I work so hard that I want to spend time with the kids. Your kids are here with you. Your wife's here with you while you're going through this. That says a lot about the character of the family. And anything with family, you know, issues like this, there's not a perfect father in the world. There's not a perfect mother in the world. The best thing I ever was taught about this that lifted a lot of weight off my back of having perfect expectations of my parents was 3 things I learned. A guy one time told me this. It says every kid and a parent, specifically father-son relationship, goes through 3 phases. First, they idolize, which you just used the word, they idolize dad. Then they demonize. I can't believe you did this, dad, which you haven't gone through. Your sons they have your back. And the last one is humanize. Daddy's a human. He's not a machine. He's not perfect, okay? So that level of, and that lifts weight off our back to become looser parent, having fun. You still have high standards and expectation, but I'm not here to be perfect.
So with all the craziness taking place, I believe future looks bright. If you believe future looks bright, get your latest Future Looks Bright hat of Valuetainment. It says Future Looks Bright here, Future Looks Bright here. We got them in white, we got them in black, we got them in red. Our black on black sold out. These are about to sell out. If you haven't ordered one yet, we had a person in Michigan, bought 1, then he bought 3. Then when those 3 people weren't in the office, they had to order 58 of them because people wanted the Future Looks Bright hat, especially during times like this, because ain't nobody saying Future Looks Bright. To order your Future Looks Bright hat, click over here. And to watch the entire podcast, click here. Take care, everybody.